Alright my friends, welcome back to FrogboyX1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I wanted to do my review for the Sony FX30. Now I know this is mainly a gaming channel, but this is definitely a tech channel, and I kind of feel like the cameras fall right into the whole tech category. So this is something that is going to clearly be a big part of the channel going forward. Obviously audio content, video content, video games, graphics cards, even down to ice makers. If it's tech, if it's powered by electricity, it'll probably be part of the channel. So I bought this, I bought the Sony FX30 for the channel, clearly to be able to mainly film like the screen so that I could show the difference between different types of visuals, maybe get like some videos going on between like the 1440p monitor, the 4K OLED, just kind of show people, you know, the differences in screen quality versus how you're playing. My goal kind of is to try to just help people find a way to really enjoy video games with whatever they can manage to get. Now, I was looking closely at the Sony the Sony EV10 Mark II or whatever it is. Yeah, so I've already got like because I got the Sony E10, and then they just launched the Sony E10 Mark II or whatever, and you know, between the Sony the Sony E1, the Sony E2, the Sony gosh, what was the other one that I was looking at? It was the the Sony ZV-E1 and then the Sony FX30. I mainly chose the FX30 due to the fan that it has, you know, to combat like overheating and stuff like that. Sometimes I like to ramble when I'm doing my videos. I just do. I like to ramble. Or when I'm doing, you know, some of these other videos, I did like the next level racing video, building the GTR Racer cockpit. And the Sony, I was shooting that one on the Sony ZV-1F. That was the first one I bought. That was my first foray into actually picking up a camera for the channel to create content on. So I ended up buying that Sony ZV-1F. Comes with just a little tiny battery. I was shooting and man, it got to like an hour or whatever, and then it just boom, died. It just died on me. I was like, no. I was like, no way that happened, because it overheated, and I was like, are you kidding me? So I got pretty much to the end of the video. I didn't get to do like the TV stand in that video and stuff. The time was getting late, so the whole active on-body cooling thing was a major thing for me. That was like a must-have. I ended up buying the Sony ZV-E10. And I really love that camera. I still use it. I use it as my B camera when I'm doing some shooting. I've done a couple of videos now where it kind of jumps back and forth, you know, between the cameras and stuff. I'm practicing with that, just trying to have some fun. And the overall creative possibilities that I believe that the Sony FX30 brings to the table for this channel are endless. Honestly, I really do feel like it is endless. And one of the major things that I absolutely love about the Sony is the color science when it comes to the color green. Green is probably my favorite color. I love seeing green. When I go out, like summertime, springtime, fall, or just anytime there's a lot of green, I am very happy. Like for some reason it just, you know, fills me with joy. And so when I look through the camera, or when I watch some playback with the Sony cameras, and I see that amazing green that the Sony ZV or the Sony FX30 can produce, oh my gosh, man, that is just so incredible. Now I've seen a couple of videos where people, you know, talk about like the greens and the blues and stuff, and you know, here's the funny thing though, guys, because I have a PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 5 has what's called deep color instead of like HDR10 or whatever else. It still can do HDR10 and whatever else, but Sony has this like science, this deep color, and on the PlayStation 5, like I am really not that like, oh, I'm not that head over heels for it. and I don't really like it that much. But now that I'm actually using a Sony camera and being able to get in there and adjust and look at my colors and, you know, the way I'm shooting and stuff like that, wow, this thing is freaking great. Now, there's some really cool features on this camera that I didn't even know existed. So there's this thing called zebra and then peaking. You can have both of these on, and you know, like right now, let me get over here and like open up this thing, because I got like the zebras, so that kind of shows me where everything is going to be like blowing out or whatever. And then like the focus peaking tracking, it shows me like an outline of everything that it's like focusing on. So on my camera screen, I can see all like these little white hairs and stuff like that, and it just shows that my face is like really being tracked. I've got like eye tracking on and stuff, so it follows, you know, my eyes or whatever. Very freaking cool features that I'm like, gosh. And it's snappy. Like, this thing is very snappy. Now, one of the things that I did lose that I was absolutely blown away with when it comes to the Sony ZV-E10 is the showcase mode. That active showcase mode that the Sony ZV-E10 has, that thing is very cool. When I'm sitting here and I'm showing off a product, I mean, that's probably my go-to camera for that, like being able to set that on there. Now, if you're wondering, I do have my Sony FX3 paired with a Sigma 16 prime lens, and then obviously I've got the kit lens that comes with the Sony ZV-E10, and I can use both of those lenses on both of these cameras, which is really freaking cool. That was another thing. That was another thing when I bought this too, because the Sony ZV-E1. That camera only that has a full frame sensor or whatever, a full frame sensor, and so I was looking at that one, and that camera was, you know, I mean, it was definitely like, it ticked all the 4K 120, 4K 60. It ticked all the freaking boxes that I needed it to tick. But the FX30, I don't know, man. Like, this camera, like the moment I saw this thing and I started looking into it, and I started like researching it and stuff like that, I knew this was the one for me. Like, I knew it immediately. I was like, wow, I gotta have that camera. I literally was checking Best Buy every single day until they finally got it in, and I was like, all right, I gotta go get it. I gotta go pick it up right now, and I got $200 off, so I was actually pretty happy with that. I only got just the body kit. That's all that, you know, they had. So now, you know, in hindsight, I kind of wish maybe I would have waited for the XLR kit, because it would have only been like a couple $100 more, and then I would have been able to get an XLR mic for it. But I ended up just picking up the Sony ECW, or what is it, EC? There was a box sitting right here a little while ago for these things, the ECW. The ECMW3 wireless mics. I like these things. I think they're good. I think they sound great. I mean, actually, is what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you guys my little secret lately. I've been getting a lot of feedback about bad sound in my videos. And I went back and I played a whole bunch of them, and like, you guys were, they were right. You know, people were telling me that the sound was too low, stuff like that. So right now I am actively recording with the wireless microphones and this microphone right here. In the last video that I put out, I left both tracks in there, and it actually made it sound even better. I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. So I'm experimenting. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm just trying to make some content. I'm having a lot of fun. I love making these videos in 21.9 in post-process. Then I can play them here on my 21.9 on my ultra-wide monitor. I think that's pretty cool. I feel like that's kind of unique to my channel. I don't, you know, a lot of people aren't really doing the whole 21.9, and I thought that, you know, hey, that's a really cool feature to be able to do. So I just go ahead and make them 21.9, and then I put them out so people can watch them. It does give them the black bars when they're watching it on a phone, but you can pull its sides and it snaps it right to it. If you're on a widescreen monitor, it obviously comes up as widescreen. If you're on like a 16:9, then you get the black bars. Really, really cool. I mean, I like it. It kind of feels cinematic to me, but I do film everything at 60 frames per second, at least on the FX3 or the FX30 I do. When I'm using the Sony ZV-E10, I'm recording at 4K 30 frames per second, which is fine. I mean, I could do 30. Like, for these talking head videos, that really doesn't matter that much, but I kind of like the, I mean, I'm a video gamer. I kind of like the smoothness, and I know that like I'm probably committing like movie maker, like whatever, you know, because most people are like, no, dude, do 24 frames, and that's fine too. I could, but I'm not doing anything like really cinematic. So I kind of feel like I don't know. Maybe you guys are, maybe I should start doing something like that, but I don't know, guys. Like, this camera is exciting. It's got two freaking memory card slots, which is absolutely incredible. I've got one map to video, one map to pictures. That way I don't get my stuff mixed up. Because you could set it to simultaneous or whatever, so it records the footage on both memory cards. So that way you have a backup if something happens to like slot A, then slot B is still going to have that. This is an incredible camera. Like, you can tell that when Sony built this camera, they built this for professionals. And while I'm not a professional, while I'm very, very, very amateur when it comes to this stuff, honestly, my video making skills are about as old as this channel. And that started off on 720p, and now here we are at 6K cropped to 6K downsampled to 4K. I love downsampling, and man, this camera is very awesome for that. You know, I could have probably got by for a while with the Sony ZV-E10. I probably could have waited and picked up the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II for $700 less. I could have waited for that. I don't think that buying the Sony FX30 is something that I'm ever going to regret. Like, this camera is absolutely freaking incredible. What it can do and the features above and beyond what... I mean, there's still things in this camera that I'm finding. Now, I will tell you, this thing did not come with any training wheels whatsoever. There's no training wheels with this camera. Like, this is clearly built for people that know how to use cameras. And as far as I've been able to make it with this camera and the quality content that I've been able to put out, even as a noob, man, this is cool. I can only imagine. I will probably own this camera for forever and probably still not find all of the features before something better comes out and I end up upgrading later down the road, you know, for the sake of, you know, continuing to make content. But gosh, man, I really have been putting in a lot of time and a lot of effort into learning how to use this camera. And my gosh, my friends, I just, man, I can't imagine how I would be feeling right now if I would have cheaped out and got the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. Man, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've got a bigger, you know, path forward with the things that I can do with this camera versus what I can do with the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. I was liking that camera, and I've watched some of the reviews today, and I'm like, okay, that looks pretty cool. It definitely makes sense that is a very cool camera. I guess Small Rig or something has even made like a little fan that you can stick in the back of it. Whereas this one here has an actual internal fan that, you know, I kind of worry about that, you know, sticking that fan in there and then you go to like close your screen or something and it pops it out the hinges or something. That kind of stuff just worries me. So I'm glad that my camera actually has a real fan in it. And the frame of this thing, man, oh my gosh, it just looks, it feels premium. The actual freaking premium experience that the Sony FX30 delivers is second to none. I swear, this camera, it feels so good in your hands. It is just an amazing piece of equipment to use. So that's my review on it, man. I do not regret picking this camera up. I freaking love it. My wife loves it. The whole family loves it. We're going to take it with us tomorrow, and we're going to be shooting some family pictures and all kinds of stuff with it. This camera is freaking awesome, and it feels pretty dang durable. And yeah, paired with this lens, it looks incredible. So, all right, my friends, thank you for coming, and we will see you guys in the next one.